What's up?
Oh, just living my best first day of California being reopened life.
Right. So I took Jax to the groomer, and I walked in without a mask, and I was like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
No, 100%. So for everyone's edification, we're recording this on June 15th, which is California's grand reopening, post Miss Rona.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I went to the gym this morning because our gym isn't requiring masks anymore if you're fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
And this is a little tangent I'm going to go on for like 2 seconds. So, first of all, I
saw your Instagram post.
Oh, yes. So, if anyone follows me on Instagram, at Jameis94 with 2 Y's and 2 S's, shameless self-promo. So, went to the gym this morning, and I'm not going to lie, I definitely felt high-key naked
without a mask.
Without a mask on, which is kind of neither here nor there. But so you can only not wear a mask if you're fully vaccinated. So I called yesterday and I was like, hey, like, are you guys like checking people's vaccination cards, or like how does that work? They're like, oh no, we're just taking people's word for it, which is valid, but like, it's also very hard to police, whatever. Surely there's going to be liar pants on fires.
Oh, there for sure will be.
Which is the point of the Instagram post I made this morning, which was something to the effect of, like, you can work out at, the gym I work out at without a mask if you're fully vaccinated. And I was like, and if you lie and say you're not, or if you lie and say you are fully vaccinated but are not and are rolling around my gym without a mask on, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Or any place in general. Because, some grocery stores are going to start, allowing vaccinated folks not wear masks and yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
Again, same kind of deal. Like, they're not going to police everyone at the fucking door,
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't. People are also forging vaccination cards, so...
Right. So that's kind of...
It really doesn't mean anything, yeah.
No, it's truly just self-reporting and just not being a, lying piece of shit.
Yeah.
But anyways, some gal, like, came at me sideways in my DMs, like, responded to my story and was like, oh, how dare you say that people who aren't getting vaccinated are assholes and yada, 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 and all these reasons, like, not to get the COVID vaccine. And I was like, that's literally not what I was saying.
No, listen,
if you're not getting vaccinated, like, that's on you. Like, that's totally your prerogative. Do your research, whatever. Like, that's all I'm going to say about the fucking matter.
Yeah, I agree.
And I literally said, I was like, just to be, like, perfectly blunt and clear with you, like, that's not what I was saying. I was saying
it's
that
just if you're lying
to get around a mask mandate, like, that's a problem, and that makes you an asshole. So, moral of the story is, don't be a liar and don't be an asshole.
But also I had this conversation with Wes, and I said, for people who aren't vaccinated and are still refusing to wear a mask, it's really just... I mean, that's harming them too, I mean, and that's on them ultimately.
100%.
I mean, getting your vaccination is your health.
Mm-hmm.
That's up to you.
Right. And this person, I don't even really know their name. It was someone like I don't know personally.
Yeah.
They were like, like I said, like listing off a laundry list of reasons not to get vaccinated, and whatever. That's neither here nor there. But she was like, oh, like, why would someone else that's unmasked and unvaccinated, why would that be a problem for you? If you're vaccinated, aren't you protected? And I was like, well, nobody's protected 100%. Like, like, it lessens your odds of getting it, but also reduces the chance that you'll have, like, a debilitating side effect. Yeah. Or death.
Or death.
Right. And I know people that have experienced both because of COVID. So I was like, so I'm doing things in my power to prevent that from happening to anyone else or myself. And then she proceeded to go on with a bunch of nonsense about how I was an asshole by calling unvaccinated people assholes, and I was like, I'm sorry, that's not what I said. You're misrepresenting what I'm saying. So thank you. Next.
Yeah, people just like to argue also.
100%. So I actually ended up having to block her because she was like being like real nasty.
Yeah.
But it don't matter.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate that kind of negative energy on my Instagram. So
yeah.
Sayonara, sister.
Sayonara, baby. Well, quite an intro, I have to say. This is hot for Jessica. Hot for Jessica.
That's the podcast name. I'm renaming this podcast. This is the Jessica Show.
This is Hot for Justice, and I am Jessica, and that is Jamie, and she's gonna tell you her freaking case right now.
I am. But for the record, I'm hot for Jessica.
Thank you. I'm hot for you too.
Oh my God,
That's why we're. Yeah. You're welcome.
That is why we're a great team.
I know. Seriously.
Any who'sin.
Any who'sin. I speak into Deutsch.
I don't actually.
I know you don't, even though you're German. It's fine.
I actually don't know if I'm German. I want to say there's like a small percentage. My maiden name is V German, but my dad is not V German.
Yeah, I guess that's, yeah.
He's like every other kind of white that you could possibly imagine.
Fair.
Anyway, so my case comes from DOS Reddit, and it is
Sick.
by a username, which is honestly a username after my own heart, Dr. Pepperblood. And yeah. At this point, I'm actually pretty sure that my blood is about 30% Dr. Pepper Zero. The other day, Zach and I went and helped a friend move. We went and got some sandwiches afterwards, and they had Diet Dr. Pepper. And Zach is like, I don't want to say like anti-diet soda, but like he's definitely like, you know, like, oh, like if you're gonna go there, you might as well just have a fucking Coke type of thing. No. First of all, I don't want the empty calories.
Same.
Second of all, I just fucking like it.
Me too.
Don't at me. So be a Diet Coke hater. Just be.
Or at me and get blocked. Just kidding.
But anyways, I had this Diet Dr. Pepper, right? And then Zach, like, we get to the car, and he's like, "Yo, can I get like a swig of that?" And I was like, "You should have fucking bought one, bitch."
Right.
But anyway, we're telling the story to Jackson the other day because we recorded with him on Sunday, and he was like, "Oh, you know what's better than Diet Dr. Pepper? Dr. Pepper Zero," which I was like, "Oh, I don't think I've actually ever had it." And I bought a sixer of Dr. Pepper Zero, and I'm gonna go as far as to say it is the like Supremo zero sugar soda.
Listen, I respectfully disagree with you.
Yeah, I understand your stance.
Very peppery. Okay, like
not a doctor.
Yeah, and I was like, but they have Dr. Pepper Zero cherry.
Oh,
flavored.
I didn't see that.
And that is you don't see it because it sells out, but that's that's where it's at.
Because I do like a cherry Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I tried it first. I tried the cherry ones, the cherry Zero one first, and then when I tried that regular Dr. Pepper Zero, I was like, I couldn't even finish it.
By the way, she's making the nastiest face.
Yeah, I mean, we're not recording this for YouTube because like we have not gotten our life together that well, but like, no. It was like a really scrunchy face because it was gross.
Yeah, no, she was not a fan of it. Let's put it that way. No. That's what that face told me.
It was a 0 out of 10 moment.
A Dr. Pepper 0 out of 10?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, continue. Tell us about an unsolved case or murder or something.
Well, so we don't know if this disappearance has resulted in a death, or two, in that matter.
Excuse you.
Oh, was that Mr. Jackson Penrose?
He makes an appearance like once an episode with his little barking work, and I'm like, no, bro. I'm gonna have to mute myself, y'all.
It's all good. So my the post is entitled "Missing in Illinois: Kiera Michelle Coles 3 months pregnant when she vanished in 2018." So the case has been like posted on Reddit before, but it was like right after the disappearance took place. I don't have like any specific articles on Reddit or posts, I should say, that predate this one because they're not linked. But if I can try to find any additional resources, I'll link them in the show description.
Okay.
So there was again a little bit of action when this case first broke, but not much recently. So there's a bit of vagueness on the exact time that Kiera disappeared on October 2nd of 2018. She called in sick to work that day, presumably in the morning hours. She was employed by the USPS and was a city carrier assistant.
Where was this at?
Like around Chicago.
Okay.
Like it's a Chicago suburb, I should say.
Okay, a burb.
A burb.
Okay.
A burb in Chi-Town.
That's fair. That's fair.
So she was employed at the Postal Service, was a city carrier assistant, and at the time of her disappearance, she was 26 years old and 3 months pregnant. So probably had kind of like just found out too, because usually that's kind of, you know, between that 8-12 week point is usually when you figure out that you are thick with child.
Yes.
Thick with
Two
multiple
C's.
C's. So she resided near 81st in Vernon in the Chatham. I might have mispronounced that, so if I did, I apologize thoroughly. The Chatham neighborhood of Chicago. When she initially disappeared, a clip of surveillance footage circulated around various news outlets. The footage came from a nearby apartment to where she had resided. It showed a woman near her home walking out in a postal uniform and walking off of the frame in the morning hours of October 2nd, the day that she was last heard from. In a link around July 2020, so last summer, Chicago police claimed that they had suspended the investigation at the time, having exhausted all leads. So as of right now, the case, it's not closed, but like it's
cold.
Right. So Kiera's mother, Karen Phillips, claims that when authorities showed her the video not long after Kiera had vanished, she told them that that wasn't her daughter in the footage. She claims that Chicago police told her not to say anything about it not being her daughter. So basically the police was like, oh, like, you can't be, like, saying that it's not your kid and, like, all this stuff. She is, like, adamant that it's definitely not her daughter in the footage. It's speculated that the woman in the video in the postal uniform was a nearby neighbor of Kiera who was also employed with the USPS at the time.
Do they look similar to each other?
I mean, I guess, and I don't have, like, the footage or anything.
Yeah.
And, I can't say if, like, the footage is great or if it's, grainy, shitty security footage.
Right. That's kind of what my next question was going to be, too.
So, like I said, all links that are available will be linked in the description box of the episode.
Okay.
So, in the days immediately following the disappearance, Kiera's car was found parked on the block where she lived. Inside the vehicle was her purse, her prenatal vitamins, her cell phone, and her lunch bag that were all in the car. It was like she was prepared to go to work that morning, but then she called in sick.
Okay.
So the father of Kiera's baby was a man by the name of Josh Simmons. He also worked for the Postal Service, but he was already in another relationship with a woman whom he had children by previously and who was also pregnant at the time that Kiera...
no.
Yeah, so they were both pregnant at the same time, and...
Not a good sign.
No. So, despite all this, she was said to be happy and excited about the baby. It would be her first child. She just moved to a new apartment, got a new car, and so she had really no reason to leave on her own accord.
Right.
Like, she had all this shit going for her. Like, she was super excited to have this baby, and, like, she was, on the up and up, like, all of this. So,
yeah.
Kiera's mom, Karen Phillips, says in an interview with NBC5 in February of this year that a neighbor showed her a video of Kiera and her boyfriend Josh around the time that her daughter was last seen. They leave her residence in separate vehicles, and then later, after that footage, they go to a bank ATM where Kiera withdraws about $400 and then hands it to Josh. This is this is probably the last actual footage of her, because the other one is, there's some question of whether or not it's her. The footage from the apartment complex.
It's not confirmed.
Right. Yeah. So, the Postal Inspection Services is actually offering a $25,000 reward if anyone has anything that can help lead to the whereabouts of Kiera and or her child.
Wow.
So police claim that they have multiple persons of interest and a good idea of what transpired, but they're not releasing any of that information to the public just because of the investigation. Because they don't want to harm the investigation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been no arrest made as of yet, and her case remains unsolved, but they do believe that foul play was a factor in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like there's one person that has some motive, or at least two people.
Right. I'm not saying that the boyfriend's sus, but, like, I'm not saying that the boyfriend isn't sus.
And, like, listen, he could have absolutely nothing to do with it.
Truly.
Especially if his the other baby mama knew. I mean, it happens. Stuff happens. No, I'm not judging.
Yeah, but,
I mean, a lot of times those situations are, like, domestic
in nature of some point. So, like I said, like I don't know necessarily if it was Josh or anyone related to Josh or in conjunction with Josh, but like I got questions for Josh.
Hey, I'm sure the police did too.
I'm sure they did, and hopefully they still do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyone that, you know, listens that is in or around the Chicago area, if you are aware of this case and, you know, potentially know something or know someone that knows something or anything to that nature, definitely reach out to Chicago PD. They would love to hear about it, and I mean, honestly, so would we. So.
Yeah. Well, mine's kind of a bummer.
It is a bummer.
Big ol' bummer. And thank you for sending it to me.
You're welcome.
Because I was ill prepared.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us.
So mine's about a young missing woman from the San Francisco area. So I'm reading right now off of a newspaper article by Andrea Cavalier it's ABC. I think Dateline. NBC, not ABC. NBC. I should know this because I watch Dateline all the time.
I was gonna say,
anyways,
what?
You guys, I'm like, I got back from my road trip at 11:30 last night, and I woke up at 8, pretty much on the dot. I've been working all day, and I'm so tired.
It's okay. Again, it truly happens to the best of us. So
it does.
So again, I pre-screened this case, and this one's a doozy.
Yeah, so Sydney Caitlin West is 19. She was a freshman at UC Berkeley, which for those of you who are not familiar with California, UC Berkeley, Berkeley is literally right next to San Francisco, very close. And yeah, so she was last seen the morning of September 30th, 2020 at the Golden Gate Bridge. And I think the Reddit post says near Crissy Field. Which is like kind of a hangout, like little beachy spot.
Yeah, and also it's like not particularly close to the Golden Gate Bridge. It's kind of on the other side of town.
Yeah, but like you have a great view of the Golden Gate Bridge,
right?
And for people who haven't been there, they probably wouldn't know that. So that's a good point of clarification, though, too. So
yeah, because when I was reading that, I was a little bit confused, also.
Yeah,
but again, I think this is probably written. I mean, the original post, like on Reddit, was written by someone who's probably not super local. So they may not have been aware. But yeah, Crissy Fields is definitely closer to like the Embarcadero. If you're familiar with San Francisco.
Yeah. So she was last seen September 30th in the morning. The San Francisco Police Department released a statement saying that Sydney was high risk because she suffers from depression. Her great aunt spoke with Dateline and basically said that that she last spoke with her family the night before she disappeared, and they had expected to talk to her the next day. Her parents live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. She had grown up in Pleasanton, which is also like it's not as close to San Francisco. It's kind of like, but it's the Bay Area.
Yeah, like so. Pleasanton is like 15 minutes, 20 minutes from me. And I'm like 45 minutes from San Francisco. So like that's your perspective if you're unfamiliar.
And that's what we're considering like the Bay Area kind of.
Yeah.
It's a wide area.
And very wide depending on who you ask.
Yes. Sydney's parents were unable to reach her for the next 2 days, so they reported her missing in North Carolina on October 1st and then in San Francisco on October 2nd.
Which I think is like interesting. Like I don't really know how that like works. Like TBH.
Right. And so the issue there probably in large part was that they could go physically to a police department where they lived, and they could probably not physically, obviously you go to San Francisco, and it might have been more difficult to do that, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you can place like
given COVID.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do like a missing persons over the phone or
yeah,
what
if you can do it.
Deal is.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, because like also it's like people could just do prank phone calls all the time.
Well, yeah, like
I mean, I'm assuming they could probably coordinate between police departments, but
but to your other point, like we're in the middle of a panty raid, and
a panty raid,
and
I'm dead.
I don't want to say I've never reported anything to the police, because I have, but like not during a panorama. So It's just one of them things. I don't know if how things work. And, you know, we're open now, so it's kind of a moot point now, but...
Yeah, true. According to the police and her family, they're not really suspecting foul play. There's been no activity on her cell phone, social media, or bank account. But her phone and her Bose headphones are missing. So it's notable. The San Francisco Police Department launched an investigation into her disappearance, obviously, and they're asking anybody with any information or who might have seen her on that morning or, you know, within a few days to call. They also say be prepared to provide a current location and clothing description.
Interesting.
If you see her currently, not then. Security footage of her shows that the day she disappeared shows really nothing. There were like sightings, but none of them have checked out. There is a Facebook page called Find Sydney West, so you can join that if you're interested. They are offering a $10,000 reward to anybody who's able to locate her and bring her home. It says that the area near the Golden Gate Bridge where she frequented is known for heavy pedestrian and bicycle traffic, so I'm actually almost thinking that maybe it was correct when they said Christie Field, because it's very like a popular place. Even during COVID, there's still like, I went there in March, and was it March or October? I can't remember, but it was very busy still. Like there were a lot of people around. And that's what her father says. Like, he said, I know there was a lot of people there that morning. He says, I know this because I reviewed the video, and we absolutely believe that somebody must know something. So I mean, I'm going back to the Reddit post. You know, they kind of describe her as a like sweet, goofy girl. She was really intelligent and loved the environment, so she even got her mom into like composting and stuff, which is cute. She was super active. She played volleyball, and she was also interested in doing art, so she would do like open mic nights and stuff like that, which was super cool. She did struggle with mental health, so that's kind of the thing that, you know, they labeled her high risk because she experienced depression. She did end up taking a gap year from high school and to start college, which is fine. You know, a lot of people struggle with depression, and that does not necessarily mean that the first thing you should suspect when they go missing is that they committed suicide. And I say that because some people do suspect that she jumped off of the Golden Gate Bridge. So we were talking about this a little bit before we actually started recording, and I was like, well, do people still do that because they have suicide barriers now, or they're in the process of building them out? I don't think they're done yet because I kind of Googled it, but essentially it's like a net to catch people if they jump off,
right?
You know, and they have like fencing. They don't make it easy for you, essentially.
Yeah, so basically,
to do that.
Really quickly, just to kind of elaborate on the suicide barrier on the Golden Gate Bridge. It was first proposed in 2008, and then there was a lot of back and forth. It was approved in 2013 originally, or maybe 2014, excuse me. And then the construction actually began off-site in May of 2017. And the installation actually started in August of 2018 and is scheduled to be completed this year. So, originally scheduled to be completed this year. And then the actual completion date is now pushed back to 2023. But so there is some, you know, some installation that's done. However, it's definitely not to its full capacity. You know, basically, you know, I'm also like not super, if I'm being honest, I'm not super convinced that this was a suicide.
Also, you know, people don't necessarily always die when they jump off the Golden Gate Bridge.
That was gonna be my other point too. Historically speaking, this is coming from like a Wikipedia, you know, article. Basically, you know, like failed attempts, you know, more or less. people that will hit the water, and then, end up kind of just like washing up, people that get rescued after, before or after jumping. Some folks have passed, not because of impact, but because of like hypothermia related concerns. But yeah, a lot of these folks, that have had like, failed attempts essentially, were rescued by either the Coast Guard or people that just happened to be nearby and rescued them. There's been like surfers that have rescued people. There's been, people just in their own boat, like personal boats or commercial boats. There's been a lot of different, outcomes of that don't necessarily end up in a successful attempt.
Yes. And speaking from personal experience, I actually know somebody who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So, I mean, and that being a point, my next point is, though, so she was experiencing some difficulties after she had moved back to California and started UC Berkeley. Mm-hmm. Her family had helped her when she moved out here, move into a dormitory. She hadn't declared a major, but that's normal for a freshman. You change
totally.
like 2 or 3 times. She had joined the school's rowing team, but according to her uncle, she was having some trouble adjusting, and then some reports say that she moved out of her dorm and in with some friends in the San Francisco area. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite exactly sure, like, if that's verified or not. Right. Also, there on the Reddit page, there's a little bit more information. Also, the investigators share that she was last publicly seen at 6:45 a.m. on the morning of September 30th near Crissy Field. So, as you said earlier, that is actually not that close to the Golden Gate Bridge if you were attempting to jump off of it.
Right.
They do say it was exceptionally foggy out that morning, which is normal for San Francisco. For all of you who aren't familiar with that, it's normally very foggy, but
especially the closer
some
to the coast
mornings are worse than others. Yeah, so there's been a few times I've been like, you literally can't even visualize the Golden Gate Bridge. At all.
Even
so it's possible.
Like for those who don't know, like my day job is based in San Francisco, and I worked out of there for a few years. There's been a few times I've driven to the Golden Gate and I couldn't see 30 feet in front of me.
Yeah, it's wild. It's scary, actually.
It's petrifying.
So, it's possible, though, that somebody did not see her. So, she is described as a white female. She's 5'10", weighing about 130 pounds. She's got blonde hair, blue eyes. The last time she was seen, she was wearing a sweatshirt, dark-colored shorts, and blue Vans. So, we don't know what happened to her. While it's possible that she jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, it's also equally possible that something else happened to her.
Right.
Granted, the police may not understand or think that there's foul play. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
it's just there's just a lot of unknowns there, and I think that's why you were saying, like, yeah, I was going to cover it, because it is.
Yeah, and, it's one of those things where, just because someone has a history of depression or anxiety or whatever doesn't mean that you don't need to exhaust all, resources and efforts. To your point earlier, Crissy Fields Beach is very, very, very busy. Like, no matter what time of the year, what time of the day.
Even at 6:45 in the morning, it's popular.
Oh, absolutely. We were just there last August, and we got there pretty early in the day, and it was fucking packed. I mean, to be fair, I just looked up the day of the week that this took place, and it was on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. But, especially at like 6, between 6 and 7 a.m., people are like walking their dogs on the beach. People are doing, whatever. So, I mean, the likelihood of someone having seen something is pretty up there. And same with, on or near the bridge. Around 7 a.m., like, people are commuting over that bridge,
Yes.
Like, and I'm talking
that's kind of why
people.
it's an odd time to do that, too.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, because I'm not saying necessarily you will survive if you jump off of it, but, like, if somebody sees you, they're obviously...
Your chances are higher of,
even if it is foggy, there's still a chance there's people walking across the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, people walk across it all the time for, if they're, touring, or, residents and, people that live nearby will walk or jog across it or bike across it for, fitness or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's just us.
Yeah, I have more questions than answers, and you know,
Samesies.
that's why I had selected this one originally. So
you chose it. Yeah.
I think there's more to be discovered.
We'll include links in any updates we see.
Yeah.
Also the Reddit page I was referring to was from the user PrimeVector19.
Yes.
So a shout out. Yeah, so do you have anything to dick off about?
I do. So, I think you may have made this recommendation to me, or at least corroborated this recommendation. Cruel Summer on Hulu.
Oh, it's so good.
We're on like episode 5 or 6, so we're not like current. I think the actual like last episode of the season either drops today or tomorrow.
Yeah, normally it's Tuesday night.
Yeah,
Tuesdays.
So today as we're recording this. So, we'll watch it after we watch The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
No, Zach and I were trying to find a new show, and I was like, I've heard everyone and their fucking brothers talking about this Cruel Summer show on Hulu. It is so good.
It's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
It's so different.
It's very different.
Than normal. And like Jessica Biel is a producer on it, and she produces The Sinner, and it's phenomenal. So I was like, okay, listen, I'm gonna give it a try because of her.
Yep.
And I was not disappointed.
No, it's the good. The episodes are like probably like 45 minutes or whatever. There's not that many. I want to say there's like 8 episodes in the whole season or something.
Yeah,
like
it's just a one season kind of thing right now.
Yeah, and if it gets picked up for a second season, I think it'll probably end up being like The Sinner, where it's like non-congruent stories.
Like it'll be a different, maybe like one person the same and
right.
A different, yeah.
Yeah, because they have like the same investigator or whatever,
story.
But it's different plot lines.
Do.
So this might be the same thing, or they might just, who knows? Like I said, very good. I don't want to spoil it.
Season 1 of The Sinner was phenomenal.
Oh my god, so good.
Like season 2 was okay, but it was good. Season 3, I just cannot get into.
No, I haven't even started.
I've tried 3 different times, and I love Matt Bomer. Like I love him.
No, season 1 was just so good. I have actually watched the first season of The Sinner, I think twice, all the way through.
It is so good.
It's fucking phenomenal. It's super twisty, super good. If you haven't seen it, go fucking watch it. Anywho, my other thing that I actually just started yesterday while I was folding laundry it's a Netflix show called The Manifest.
Okay.
It's about a flight that disappears for 5 years. And I'm assuming they maybe jumped into like a space-time continuum type of thing, because like no one on this flight ages a day, but they're gone for like 5.5 years or something fucking crazy.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. I'm only on like episode like 2.5, so like I don't have like a ton of whatever. I don't want to spoil anything else other than I already have. Fucking great. Definitely like that one. It's I think a Netflix original.
It's not. It's not. It's on Hulu also.
Oh, is it?
Because it's currently still like a show.
Yeah, they just dropped the second season
watched,
on Netflix.
But yeah, so it's I think on season 3 or 4 like currently.
Okay.
I think 3 actually. I mean season 1's really good, but when you get into like by season 3, I'm kind of like less intrigued by it. It's still a good show.
Is it the same people like every season?
Yes.
Okay. That was kind of my next question.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to like be spoily because it's pretty drams.
There's a show called Why Women Kill. It was on CBS Plus or All Access, but now it's on Paramount Plus because they acquired CBS All Access. It's called Why Women Kill, and the first season was so fucking good. It has Lucy Liu in it. It's got Jennifer Godwin, who's in He's Just Not That Into You, and it has she's I don't know her name, but she's actually on a lot of stuff. She's on The Good Place. She's on the new season of Veronica Mars.
Oh fuck me.
She is like she's a black woman. She's a phenomenal.
Oh, I'm gonna look it up. You said The Good Place?
Yeah, it's got she's on The Good Place, the most recent season.
I'm looking it up, but keep going.
Anyway, so that was the first season. It was so freaking good. Highly recommend. Well, we were in LA yesterday and I saw Billboard for a second season. Granted, it's with different people, but I'm like 100,000% into it. I'm gonna watch it after The Bachelorette.
Also, sidebar, while I just had you on the podcast, this is your formal invitation to any and all episodes of Weekend Plans where we cover The Batch this season.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I should do that. I need to get my shit together and do that. You know, the problem is when I watch it, half the time I'm listening to Emerson scream at me, so it's like a little hard to concentrate.
Valid. Maybe let's we'll do like a mid-season situation.
But yeah, I'm down.
By the way, if you are
I'm in for that.
If you're into Bachelor Nation, Zach and I are, and our girlfriend Christina are starting back up on the Bachelorette recaps over on his podcast, Weekend Plans. We're actually going to be recording Katie weeks 1 and 2, I think on Thursday. Just because like I feel like week 1's like so chaotic with like being introduced to all these men that you get to meet for 3 seconds.
I agree.
So we were like, we should just combine the first 2 weeks and then go from there.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe mid season I'll join in with my thoughts.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm trying to like find out who she is.
I literally started looking and then I got distracted.
No. Her name is Kirby Howell Baptiste.
You know what's hella funny is I had like clicked on her like on like the IMDb page and then like went back to looking at you and then I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
Yeah. I had to find her name because she's really good. She's also in Killing Eve, which I've also recommended. I freaking love that show. And yeah, The Good Place she's in, and then the last season of Veronica Mars. And a couple other things that I've never heard of. But she's literally phenomenal. Highly recommend watching it. She has a major storyline in the show. So.
Ooh, copy of that.
Yes.
I think
do you have any other? I kind of have to pee right now. So.
No, that's okay. I think that's all the dicking I have to do. Zach's gonna be home like.
Well, I also do want to tease something like really exciting.
Yeah.
We've got we have something in the works, and we mentioned it last time, but like it's solidifying. So hopefully in the next like week or two, we might have something for you. But we might be interviewing a really, really interesting a guest, and hopefully we can we're hopefully meeting up with this guest this weekend to record in person because they don't live in California, but they will be here.
California.
So it's like going to be really interesting, and I hope you all enjoy that because it's definitely going to be different than our normal episode, but it's going to be really cool.
Yeah. Just to leave you all on a cliffhanger as far as that's concerned, we did like a pre-interview and it was V juicy, V interessante, and we think you hotties are gonna love it.
And also, it's like it's not beyond that. It's like we're actually going to be talking about an issue, like an issue with our legal system, and I think that there's like a really big opportunity to A, bring awareness, and B, to do some really like good things that I think Jamie and I had talked about being involved in the future, whether that be, with our volunteering our time or volunteering some of our like ad revenue. So yeah, we're so super excited, and we're teasing that. And otherwise, I don't know, we are going to try to get on a regular schedule, but the next like 3 weeks we have the guest thing going on, and then we have our best friend's wedding, and so we've got a lot of stuff going on, so it might be another like couple weeks before we get on a normal routine, but we'll be back as soon as we can.
Yeah, we're shooting at the very least like mid next month to be on our like regular weekly upload schedule, but like if it happens sooner, dope, but like don't hold us to that until like at least the second week of July. Then you can add us.
Then you can add us if you want to, but be nice about it because I'm still sensitive.
Yeah, we're a couple of sensitive hoes, all right?
No cap, as the kids say.
All right, I think that's our cue to get the fuck out of here.
Yep, okay, gotta go. Bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.